Hardy siding to the left of us, and that's left in direction of travel, those of you riding back up to your right, is the only point of double track remaining. So this was a double track railroad. During the Second World War, it saw as many as 70 trains per day on this little line here. Now, however, following the Second World War, the line was abandoned for reasons I'll explain later. The double track part of that reason. We're crossing over our second bridge over the WNA, the Western and Atlantic. This was the first rail line completed into the city of Chattanooga in 1850. Now, it is owned by the state of Georgia, so the state of Georgia owns property within the state of Tennessee. Tennessee did not want to let the Georgia State Road into town. But a gentleman named Colonel James Anderson Whiteside convinced them to let the railway come into town. So thus the WNA came to town, and it's still owned by the state of Georgia, although they lease the CSX transportation for freight service to this day. On the right of the train, we're now passing Allied Metals. They're a freight customer. They get very heavy box cars full of steel ingot. We also store some of our historic cars over there. One car to note is number 50, the Emporium. It was built in the 1950s as a U.S. Army troop kitchen car. During the Second World War and Korean Wars, they had Poland-built troop sleepers that carried 30 men in bunk beds stacked 3 high, as well as troop kitchen cars. That was built by the Second World War Company. Here we're passing two of our classic Bulldog nose F units, as you can imagine, trained in the 40s and 50s. And the 7100 there was built by the American Locomotive Company in the 1940s, 1943.
Crazy. Oh.
Yellow. Mercury's Power Company, right out at the Volunteer Army Ammunition Plant in Chattanooga, that's a Volkswagen. During the Second World War, there was an American Locomotive Company, Alco, and a brother called EMD, to the right of the train, you'll see those wooden sleepers down there. That's again the original 1858 right-of-way. It was built before mass earth-moving equipment or dynamite, so it was hand-graded. So they took the path of least resistance, which turned out to be a very curvy route. But when the Southern rebuilt the line in the 1900s, they had dynamite, they had steam frames, shovels, goatees, so they made it almost narrow straight. And I mentioned they double-tracked it. However, the original 1858 tunnel could not be widened, so you had a double-track railroad with a single-track tunnel. And that created a major operational bottleneck in the Southern Railway. Coupled with the fact that following the Second World War, the Southern strength became too large to fit to the tunnel. Thus, this route was abandoned when the new bypass, which you saw at the hill at Grand Junction, was built between 1949 and 1952. Now, when the line was abandoned, they removed the rails, and the biggest obstacle they left was that tunnel boulevard up here, which was so named because the roadway tunneled beneath the railway. When the line was abandoned, the tunnel was daylighted, or the roof of it was dynamited off. And although TVRM was founded in 1961, and really got going between about 1966 and 68, we were not able to build that bridge until 1977, thus enabling us to reopen the entire 3-mile stretch of 1850 right-of-way. Now, interestingly, some people wonder about this.
See out there very good? Look how close we are.
It's going to bring the 1829 onto the turntable, and you'll see this end where I'm stood rise up, and it'll drop back down once we're balanced. And once again, if everyone will please remain well behind the yellow line, not hanging on any ropes. Our locomotive today is number 1829. It was built in 1951 by EMD, the Electromotive Division of General Motors, for the U.S. Army. And it operated, along with another one, number 1824, you'll see, at the Holston Munitions Plant in Kingsport, Tennessee, for many, many years. Now, it was purchased as military surplus for $250. This locomotive was bought without counting moving it here, but as a working locomotive for $250. There's that dip right there. Same for the 1824 and the 1832, $250. Everyone give a wave to our engineer up there, Mr. Andrew Walker. Now the 1829 is a diesel-electric locomotive, as most engines we call diesels are. So there's a giant diesel engine in the long hood there, but it does not directly drive the wheels. There's some very early diesel hydraulics where it did. But most engines, and those today, the diesel turns a generator, and it makes direct current, which is fed to the axles where there are traction motors which actually propels the engine. So this is a diesel electric rather than just a straight diesel engine. Diesels today still use that. They just use alternating current. They're much bigger and they have lots of computerized systems in them, whereas this is much more old-fashioned. Now the 1829 is what's known as a GP General Purpose 7. That was the first of the GP series. That they eventually built the GP9s, GP30s, GP38s, up to the GP60. So this right here is one of the engines that doomed the steam engine. Now, a little interesting thing is the Army put it on switcher trucks. It's not on its regular, shall we say, road trucks that GP7s were on. They could get them cheaper if they were on those switcher trucks. Now you'll notice on the fireman side over there, there is a large horn on there. That is the original fog horn off of this engine. It's a Typhon style Leslie A200. You heard the chime horn, but back in the 50s they thought that was too jarring for passenger trains, so they would have had a deep fog horn on them. Now we came in on track number 1. We're going to spin all the way around to track 2. They'll run all the way down to the other end of the yard, flip a switch, and back in on number 1. So the 906 and the 390 were at the front of the train on the way here, but they'll be at the back of the train on the way back. And we have got our third and final no-hitter for the day. So I'm just going to come off, and then we'll bring the locomotive off the turntable. Now that turntable is lined up just how it was in 1916. There are no lasers, no sensors. It's lined up all by eyesight and luck skill. Now once the locomotive comes off, if you'd like to head down there to our Railway Express Agency messenger and Second World War Air Raid Warden, Mr. Charles Gooch, that will lead you over towards the back shop and you can see where we keep all of this vintage equipment operating.